Welcome back, everyone, to our podcast. I'm Ashley, owner of Grace and Goods Boutique.
And I'm Shelby, the owner of the Aria Event Studio.
And this is the Business Bestie Podcast.
All right, Ashley. Well, I'm super excited to chat with you today. So I know on the previous episode, we talked a lot about me, power of persistence and not saying no and not giving up and all of those things. But I'm excited to kind of dive into your journey and talk kind of about how you got to where you are today as an entrepreneur, what kind of pushed you to get there in like your personal life, because I know there was maybe some personal things that kind of happened for you that kind of really pushed you into this journey. I think, did you tell me you had like a epiphany in the middle of the night and you were just like, this is what I need to do?
Yes, I did. My whole journey started from something that isn't a nice, pretty thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a struggle with alcohol. I always say I'm an alcoholic just because it's easier to say that, but I was more of a drunk. I wasn't an alcoholic where I reached for a drink like every day or every morning. It was more like when I did drink, I always crossed the line. Mm-hmm. So I had my first drink when I was 14.
Oh, wow.
So I was super young.
Wow.
Drinking was a big part of my life because my parents did it.
Mm-hmm.
My dad actually is an alcoholic. Well, not anymore. He got sober, thank goodness.
That's great.
Yeah, but he was when I was really little. And so I watched my parents kind of partake very frequently and thought it was normal because they did that. And then fast forward to 14, I was a freshman in high school. I was kind of in the group where on Friday and Saturday, it's like, where's the party at,
Back in the field or someone's barn. Or
Yes, so I got into that. So then it was more like a social thing on the weekends. And then fast forward to 2017, my mom, she got diagnosed with lung cancer and she ended up passing. And I had just had my daughter. She was a year old. So I was struggling with that really hard. And I used alcohol as kind of my coping mechanism. So it was still mainly on Fridays and Saturdays, but I wasn't just having a couple of drinks and having a good time. It was more like drowning my feelings and my sadness with the alcohol. So I was
passing out.
Yeah, I was drinking till I blacked out, till I passed out, whichever came first. So it was very unhealthy. And this went on for years. And then I ended up ruining my relationship with my sister, which has not been mended still to this day.
I didn't know you had a sister.
I do. I have a half sister.
Okay.
She's on my dad's side, and we're actually 16 years apart.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, big gap between us.
Is she younger? Or
she's older.
She's older. Okay.
Yes. So one night when I was blackout drunk, I had said some really mean and nasty things to her that you just can't take back. And unfortunately, it was something that hurt her so bad that she still hasn't moved past. And that's okay. That's her healing process. But yeah, so alcohol has cost me something, and I've just gone through a lot of times where I'm not proud of the things I said or did because of the alcohol. So that kind of pushed me to start going to church. So I started reading more about God and learning more about God. I was going to church with my mother-in-law, and then I broke my foot at a...
I remember that.
Me and my husband went to see Luke Combs in Indy, and I ended up... I don't even know how I broke it because I didn't fall or anything. At least everyone I was with was like, no, I don't remember you falling or anything. But I woke up the next day and took a couple steps, and it was so painful, Shelby. I was like, something's wrong.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But thankfully I worked at a podiatrist's office. So
that's convenient.
The next day I x-rayed my foot and I could see that it was broke. I could see it clear as day.
That is crazy. So it's like you had to have just stepped on it so wrong. But again, when you're drinking or you're drunk, you don't feel those things. And so the reaction probably just wasn't even there.
Yeah. So I don't know how it happened, but that day I was so torn up about it. I thought it was the end of the world because I knew I wasn't going to be able to walk or drive. And I'm a get up and go, do stuff from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, very type A. And this was a big shock for me that I have to sit on my butt for the next 13 to 14 weeks. But something beautiful came out of it because in that isolation, I built my relationship with Jesus. So I always said I've always known of Jesus. I always said I was a Christian. But in that time frame, I got to actually know him. He actually came into my heart and we formed this beautiful relationship. And in the middle of that isolation, not only did I grow my relationship with him, but he put the business on my heart.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, you need to reach women that are just like you, that maybe have the alcohol problem, or maybe they have some other issues that they're dealing with, and let them know like what I did for you and that I can do it for them too. So I started researching around Fort Wayne, and there was absolutely no Christian businesses. They had all closed or gone out of business. And so I saw a niche for it, and I said, okay, I'm just going to start. And I worked on my like logos, colors, website until like 6 a.m. Like I could not sleep.
Yeah.
Like I was about this business. I was going to start it, and it was going to be launching in like a week.
Right.
So yeah. And then here I am now, 2 years later.
It's crazy.
My 1-year anniversary for my brick and mortar is next month, and I'm so blessed for all the people that I've met along the way.
Yeah. And so you just opened up and painted tree as well, right? So you have a booth there.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool. Now, I don't think I'm making this up, but I remember, did you do something during COVID? Did you start with like?
No, not during COVID. It was like right after COVID, like 2022, 2023.
Because did you do like a subscription box or?
That was my first idea. Yes. So that was my first idea, but just like we talked in the last episode, it was, I can't do this.
Yes.
You know, there's already so many businesses like this. I'm not going to make it. So I kind of shut myself down with that. And it wasn't as driven from like God as this was. This, I was on fire. Like I said, I couldn't sleep, couldn't I want to say couldn't eat, but I could eat.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, we were just like so laser focused.
Yes.
And we've been there where it's like 4:00 in the afternoon. All I've had is 3 cups of coffee and no food because I'm just like, I have this idea and I have to plug it in, and it's just got to happen.
Yes. So that's kind of the difference. But yeah, I was going to do that back in the day, but that was before like my real foundation with Jesus was ever established, and before I really was serious, I would say. So yeah.
Well, I love that you have just like such an amazing like personal story that has driven you to the business, because it just makes it so much more like worth it. You know, I feel like when we have a reason to open a business, or, you know, something that has inspired us to do this, like it pushes us forward every day, and it just makes it so much more rewarding. And then the fact that, you know, you don't just have a business where you're making money, you are helping other people. And I know we've talked about before where, you know, like sometimes people don't like to show or, you know, admit that they, you know, believe in Jesus or believe in God, and they don't want to have it on their shirt, but you're making them realize like, it's cool. Like, it's okay. Like, you know, you can be open with it. So that's really cool that you're giving them, you know, that space that, you know, they come in and it's the boutique-y feel, and, you know, you get to get some cool jewelry and, you know, get a cool shirt.
Yes. So the old me before all of this, if I saw me wearing like even this, I probably would have been like laughing or are you serious? You know what I mean? So I want to inspire women to wear this and wear it proud and know that they look cute in it, because you do. Look how cute it looks on me. No, I'm just kidding.
It does look cute, and she has it in her store. Go buy it.
Yes, I do. But yeah, I just want to inspire women to not feel that. I mean, even as business owners or starting a business, you're going to go through periods where you feel embarrassed or you think, oh, what are they going to think when they see that I'm doing this? I'm going to look so silly, but it'll be worth it. Somebody's going to resonate with you. Someone's going to love what you're doing and agree with it. So
I know we've talked a lot about like growth and how you've changed. And so what are your goals for your business, like moving forward, and like even like you personally and your family and things like that?
My goal personally is to obviously keep growing my faith in Jesus and to grow my daughter's faith as well. She goes to church with me every week and she's very invested in it. So I'm so proud of her for that. But I never want to force it on her. I want it to be her own thing. Same thing with my husband. He's just starting to open up to the idea of it. He's definitely on a different path than I am, which is, again, fine. Not everybody has to be, you know, head first into it like I am. And then for the business, I just want to grow. I want to reach more women. You know, I want to implement more of the helping women one-on-one thing. Because I've had so many customers like come in and tell me their testimony, which is awesome for someone to feel comfortable to just walk
in and tell a stranger.
And tell them. But I want women to feel like they can do that. And I don't know if you know, but every first and third Thursday, I usually do host a Bible study in the boutique.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when I opened the brick and mortar, it wasn't just to have a brick and mortar. I wanted to have a place where women could gather and talk about these things in a comfortable environment. So I would love to one day have maybe even a bigger space and have more like Christian events or something like that, or a more regular Bible study group, stuff like that.
I love that. That's amazing. So something else that I wanted to ask you about, because I know you've mentioned it, and I think it happens just in general as like we grow in different directions, but friendships and relationships with other people as you change, or and you've realized this isn't the person that I want to be anymore. I want to be this person, and it's hard maybe when our friends don't resonate with that and things just kind of get cut off.
I've been lucky. I haven't had anyone that straight up was like, I can't get down with this, I'm out. But I've definitely grown apart from people that maybe the only thing we had in common was the partying and the drinking, or maybe that's just like the most fun thing we were doing together. So we've maybe drifted apart, but I wouldn't say anyone's like stopped being my friend. I also will say that just because I am a Christian doesn't mean I can't be in certain situations or around certain things.
Right.
Because I can always be the light in the room, and that's what my goal is. Jesus, for example, didn't just hang out with people who were doing like the perfect righteous things.
Right.
He hung out with sinners as well. So, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that, just as long as you're staying true to yourself and your values and your morals.
Yeah. I just think sometimes too, like we were talking about like being embarrassed and things about like moving forward and growing and, realizing that some people are going to like maybe fall off, or you're not going to be as close with them. With my business, I'm crazy busy. I'm running 2 businesses, and I don't always have time for my, my husband,
Girl,
my mom, like my mom's calling me, and I'm just like, and I feel like, it's okay, and sometimes we have to make those sacrifices, and, along the way, if those relationships, with your friends or other people in your life, don't withstand it, then it's okay. And I feel like, sometimes we maybe don't want to move forward because we're worried about those things. But I think moving forward and, hoping that the main ones and the good ones will stick around is
whoever's meant to be in your life will be in your life. Whoever really loves and cares about you will step back and let you grow and let you bloom. And it's so funny you say that about your husband, because I joke all the time with mine that he's neglected now.
Yeah. I mean, it really is kind of like how it is. My husband, for the primary of our relationship, has always worked from home. And so that's always been nice, because even, when we're in our office, both work, we're kind of like there together. But he now recently has now gotten a new job and is working out of the house and working second shift. So like your husband too.
Yep.
And so it's like, it has definitely been very interesting to like navigate, because even when he's home on the weekends, I'm probably here or doing something else. And so they definitely get neglected, but we're lucky because they still stick around.
Yeah. We've got a couple of good ones. Yeah. And that's important to have good people on your team and on your side.
100%.
But I was going to say another thing with this business is it's crazy. All the things that have just kind of fallen into place or fallen in my lap, which I believe is from God. But you just can't give up, because if you do, you don't know what you're missing out on.
Exactly.
So yeah, you have to keep pushing and keep growing. And if it's your dream, just keep chasing it, because the worst thing that's going to happen is maybe you don't get as big as you thought you were going to do, but every year you're going to get better and you're going to grow if you stay consistent. There's no way you can't.
Right. Yeah. So. I mean, again, I feel like it all is just going back to being persistent and, just keeping up with it and keep moving forward. And eventually, what's the worst? The worst that can happen.
Yeah. I mean, look at us. We're 2 just regular girls, and look what we've done.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it as long as you...
I mean, you really can. I mean, really anybody can do it if you've got the dream. You have to have a little bit of drive behind it.
Yes.
And it's not always as easy as it looks, but yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, anybody can do anything they want to do.
Yeah.
And I put your heart to it.
It's important to have a very deep and personal why. If you have a deep and personal why, that's what's going to keep your fire lit, and that's what people around you are going to see in you, and it's going to attract them to you.
Well, and that's what I was saying earlier when I was like, you know, your personal reason for starting your business is what's going to keep you going. And people can see that. Customers can see that, even in just the way that you present your business or your customer service when your customers come in, because you're just so much more excited that they're there because the business is just, it's you know. I see people open businesses, you know, just because they just want to make a quick dollar. And, you know, their heart's not in it. And you can sometimes tell. And, you know, and unfortunately, those are the businesses that when you're just trying to make a quick buck, they're not always going to last, you know. And then, you know, they'll move on to the next thing, and that's fine. But I think having the heart in it and the personal stories and things like that is what is most important to make your business grow. And I know branding now has been brought to light like crazy in the last 2 years. And I think that's important as well. And I feel like you personally have like just grown an amazing brand around yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
Which then has shown, you know, in your business. And I know you recently just did a rebrand, even though, you know, I did one too, you know, we just opened, but you've just done a rebrand. And I feel like that has gotten to, you know, show you in the light of your business, and your website is amazing.
Yeah, I'm very happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, it's so stinking cute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the more you get into your business, the more you learn. So having that rebrand early on doesn't puzzle me that much, because I feel like every couple months I've grown so much that maybe the rebrand was necessary because I've changed. And I was going to talk about like the first couple months when I did open just my online boutique. Oh my goodness, I went 3 or 4 months without a single sale. But when that first sale hit, girl, you couldn't talk to me. Yeah. I was on cloud nine.
I'm rich. I got $25 in my bank account. Like, I am good. You can't tell me no.
Yep. So even the little small wins, if your reasoning is correct or is right behind your business, those small little wins are going to feel like you're on top of the world.
100%. Yep. And I know Olivia talked about this in our previous episode, but like, your people will always find you. The people that you are meant for will find you. And so I think that's another important thing to remember when we're branding as well. Like, be the brand for yourself, not for anybody else, because the people that are meant for you will find you.
100%. And I'm glad that I found a really awesome business bestie in you.
I'm so glad too. I know. I love it. It's like the timing, just with like our daughters meeting and becoming friends, and then us becoming friends and having the businesses and stuff. It was just
all
crazy.
meant to be.
It was all meant to be. Yes. So.
All right. Well, guys, that concludes our next episode. Again, if you have any topics or questions you want us to cover, please comment them below and like and subscribe. And we will see you next Monday at 8.
Yes. See you next week.